You're the guy people call when they need a helping hand, moving furniture, unloading a truck. But lately, your shoulder's been acting up, and you're the one who's calling for help. And that's the moment you realize you can no longer shoulder the load.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with a range of surgical and non-surgical treatments. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 566. In case you missed it, Tween Week, Tweens Talk Body Image.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine, and this is an In Case You Missed It episode, because I know I have a lot of podcast episodes, and it's easy for stuff to get buried. And this is something I did a year ago, which I felt was a week of very important conversations. I did Tween Week, where I had multiple episodes of talking with tweens from 11 to 12, 13-year-olds about some issues that they wanted to talk about, which I'll explain here in the replay. But these two episodes in particular that I'm releasing on this day are girls talking about their body image. And then the episode paired with it is Dr. Ashley Solomon with some actual things that we can do for girls to feel better about themselves and tips for parents. And I just think these are two very important topics that, if in case you missed it, I wanted you to hear these episodes. If you want to go back and listen to the entire Tween Week, that's episodes 368 through 375. So those are all the original episodes if you want to go back and listen to them. I'm just doing these two replays here. I would recommend you listen to both of these episodes. If you're going to listen to this episode with the girls, I would listen to the episode with Dr. Ashley Solomon with some solutions. And hopefully this can just open a conversation up about body image. And, this is something that, my parents never talked to me about. And I feel like that it's so important, which I'll explain here. So if you've already listened to this episode, you can listen again, or you can just skip past this one if it's a lot of heavy emotions here. But in case you missed it, here is the body image episode from Tween Week. This is a very special week of Pound This. It is Tween Week. And I want to take a few minutes to kind of explain what this week is going to look like and why it is happening. What it's going to look like is it's going to be conversations with tweens. It's actually Mrs. Lake's 5th grade class. They're 10 and 11-year-olds, and they wanted to come in and speak on some topics revolving a healthy lifestyle and healthy living, which is absolutely amazing. These kids, I would just want to say, have been so brave. It is so brave to come in and get in front of microphones and talk about some of the tough things that they decided to talk about. So just amazing, amazing people that you're going to hear over the course of the next week. And the little backstory of how this all came to be kind of starts with my backstory. So I have been obese or overweight since as long as I can remember, 6 years old. And I've been obese for most of my life. I spent my 20s yo-yo dieting. And here in my 30s, I have lost over 100 pounds and through healthy eating and exercising, and have maintained, and it's been about 7.5 years for me now. So Tracy, Mrs. Lakes, asked me to come speak to her 5th grade classroom about body confidence. And I was so happy to do that, talking about kind of my experience at their age and how I felt and how we all can be our own bully, and we shouldn't be our own bully, and we should love ourselves, and we should take care of ourselves with some, healthy eating and moving but just really about finding who we are and being proud of who we are and loving ourselves. And after I came and spoke to Mrs. Lake's class, she actually came in and was a guest on this podcast, which you can find her at episode 236, because Tracy has an amazing weight loss transformation as well. She's lost 96 pounds through Weight Watchers. So after we recorded this episode, her students listened to this podcast, and Tracy sent me a video of one of the students saying that when she listened to it, it made her think of Rachel Hollis, which, oh my gosh, being compared to Rachel Hollis. Are you kidding me? And that, she said it empowered young girls like her. And I thought, I'm going to be honest with you, I cried. And I was like, wow, that I never thought about this podcast. I mean, I do this podcast and I do 5 episodes a week of this podcast about healthy living and, weight loss and just motivation and trying to be a good resource for adults trying to live this healthy lifestyle, because I know it can be really, really super difficult. And to think, wow, of this could resonate with this age group of, when I was that age, when I was 10 and 11, I know how I felt about my own body, and it was not positive at all. And I had at that time no resources to have any knowledge of how to change things or live a healthier life. So I talked with Mrs. Lakes and I said, do you think these kids would want to come in and be on my podcast? Is this something that, are these types of topics important to them, and do they want to come in and talk about it? So she kind of floated the idea past the classroom, and some of the students wanted to participate. So they all wrote proposals about what they wanted to come in and talk about. And from that, we had a couple groups of Mrs. Lake's 5th grade class come in and talk about topics that they wanted to talk about. And so this week is going to be these kids talking about their topics, and with episodes with experts kind of moving the conversation forward or giving some resources to some of the things that they're finding difficulty in. So for this particular episode talking about body image, you can find the very following episode, which is episode 369, is with Dr. Ashley Solomon, who is a child psychologist, and she speaks about body image and eating disorders, and she gives a lot of great resources for someone who is 10 and 11 years old, who is younger, of things that you can do if you want to move forward and having more body confidence and how you feel about yourself, and also as parents, resources of how to have this conversation and kind of move the needle in that way. And also Dr. Ashley Solomon has been so awesome, and she gave me a printout so you can have an actual tangible thing to read of if you want to have this conversation. You can find that at poundthis.com. Look under articles and you can find that printout right there from Dr. Solomon. So that's pretty much what's going to be happening this week, is we're going to be having conversations with the tweens on the things they wanted to talk about. And we're also going to be having conversations with adults about plans of action and how we can really open conversations and how we can move the needle and how we can eat healthier and how we can move our body more, and resources in our community. So I think that this is amazing that these kids wanted to come in and talk about this topic. And I've been doing this. I've been doing a lot of episodes. We're at episode 368 with a lot of adults, and to have kids come in and be so open and honest and willing to share their stories and their thoughts, I think is just absolutely amazing. So I encourage you to listen to every episode this week if you're able to, and hopefully that will open a conversation. It'll move you in some sort of way, whether you have kids or you don't, because I personally don't have kids, and having these conversations has definitely affected me and has changed me. And it's awesome. So I'm so glad to have the ability to give these kids a voice. So I wanted to go ahead and get into this first conversation. And this conversation, I'm not going to lie to you, is a tough conversation. Again, these girls are so brave and amazing to come in and have this talking about body image at any age is tough. And so these girls are amazing. And here is our conversation on body image. Very special group of girls with me today. Saisha, did I say it right?
Yep.
Yes. How many I told you like 4 times already. I was so worried about saying your name wrong. I'm so bad at names. Saisha.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old are you, Saisha?
I'm 10.
10. And Lily, how old are you?
I'm 11, about to turn 12.
Okay. And Mrs. Lakes, we know, is 39.
Yes. Dum, dum, dum.
So Mrs. Lakes is your teacher, your 5th grade teacher, but you guys are about to go on to 6th grade.
Are you guys excited for 6th grade?
Yes.
Yeah?
And
Maybe.
no.
No?
Maybe.
Yeah?
Maybe. Both.
Is it scary to go up another grade?
I'm scared because that's where mostly all the bad drills happen.
What does that mean?
Like, kids fight.
What?
Fight.
Whoa, what?
To the death.
No, that's intense. Why do they fight in 6th grade and not in 5th grade?
Because 6th graders think they can do whatever they want.
Whoa, are you guys excited for that?
Because they think we're mature. Maybe. We're not mature.
So other than looking forward to 6th grade, and I know that I'm really excited that you guys came in and wanted to be on my podcast. And what we're going to talk about is, a really, I think, really important topic that I think is important for girls. I think it's important for women. I think it's important for adults and for parents and for just everybody. And we're going to talk about body image. And what I think is cool about that is that this was your guys' idea to talk about this in the podcast. So this was that you guys came to Mrs. Lake's and you wrote a proposal of things that you wanted to talk about on the podcast if you wanted to come on. And so I didn't get to read your proposals. Were they written out? Is that like that kind of proposal?
Yeah, they wrote it out and sent it to me in an email.
Okay. And did you guys write it together? Or you guys wrote separate proposals?
We just mentioned each other, and we just talked about that we wanted to be a part of this together because we're best friends. And you think the body image is important to talk about? Yep.
So, Saisha, what did you write in your proposal? Why you wanted to talk about this?
I said that I didn't really like the way I looked. I wasn't proud of myself. I weighed so much, and I always gained so much pounds over the months. And I wrote about that I couldn't really keep all the clothes that I really liked. I had so much of the clothes that I had last year that I don't have anymore. Last year when I was in 4th grade, I had this shirt, and I loved that shirt, but a couple of months later, I couldn't have the shirt anymore because I gained so much weight, and I was really sad because I loved the shirt, and I had it for such a short period of time.
What do you think? I mean, you're growing up too.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's just my stomach is like ginormous, and I just don't like it. And I just wanted to be skinnier and be more healthy because my blood pressure is too high, and I'm kind of scared because I'm on the verge of getting diabetes. And
did your doctor tell you that?
My mom told me that because she heard it from my doctor because I had to get the finger stick. And my blood pressure was like really high up, and I didn't like it. I'm really scared because I don't want to get diabetes because my dad's grandma died from it, and it's just scaring me a lot.
So do you feel like a lot of people your age feel like you do?
Possibly. Yeah.
So I want to come back and talk about that, but Lily, I wanted to talk about what you wrote in your proposal.
I can't really remember, but I remember saying that, like, me and Saisha, when we talk about ourselves, we don't say, like, most of the time, we don't say a lot of nice things about ourselves because we don't really like our body image and how we look. And then we feel like we're the odds one out because we think we're big and not really good looking. And so.
But what makes you feel that way?
Well, it's just because we can't wear certain clothes or else, like, you see our belly. Like, that's why I like to wear a lot of baggy clothes.
Yeah. What makes you feel bad? Is it mostly that you're just kind of saying mean things to yourself, or do you feel like other people do that, or do you feel like you see people look a different way, like on TV and online, and that makes you compare yourself to them?
Kind of. It's like when I see people that are like smaller than me, I kind of get jealous because I wish I was like more in shape and took better care of myself.
I mean, does that make it feel like that you feel like they're better because they're smaller?
Kind of. It's just that, like, sometimes it's just like I look at myself and then I look at girls that are like smaller and I'm like, why can't I be like that way, or why did I treat myself like this?
So how do you feel like your life would be different if you looked differently?
I feel like I'd be more active and be more like louder and proud of myself.
Yeah, I felt that way a lot. I mean, for a really long time, when I was your age, that I felt like I was like this person that was like really fun and silly and funny. And when I was in school, I couldn't show that part of me at all. I just was very like quiet, and I didn't want to like attract attention to myself because I felt the same way. And I didn't want anybody to like look at me because I felt so bad about myself. So does that feel like that's like similar where you just kind of feel like there's this person in me and I just want to let her out, but then you feel too self-conscious to do that?
Yeah, there's sometimes I'll like some of it will peek out every now and then, but most of the time I'm kind of in a shell. And I only act like my real self around my friends or when I feel like I want to. And because I'm very self-conscious, I don't like when people kind of like say mean things about how I look because it kind of like makes me feel bad about myself. Like this one time at church, and these girls were talking about me in a mean way, and I hated it. And I think they thought they couldn't hear me, but I could hear them. And I went when class was dismissed. We went straight to the church, and I just started crying, and I had to go home.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's it's tough when people say mean things about you, and I think it's important to remember them because that happens with adults too, that you can't control what other people are going to say about you because people, that's kind of on them. That kind of just shows that they have things that they're dealing with, that they have to kind of pick on other people, and that you can't control that, but you can control how it makes you feel and how you react. Where I know it's really hard at first where you want to cry and it really, really hurts your feelings, but you can also let that, that it's making you stronger, that, that you're going through some tough things, and, that you can get past that. And as long as you just got to learn to really appreciate who you are, so those things don't bother you as much, which I know is easier said than done. Does that make sense? Do you think that makes sense, Mrs. Lakes?
I think that does make sense. I think that's a very good point. I think it's very reflective of these girls at a very early age to be able to come and actually articulate that this is the way they're feeling as fifth graders, that they're aware that they have these negative thoughts and maybe are really kind of hard on themselves and beating themselves up, because I think these girls are both really awesome people. And I think that once they take a step back, that they realize that. So I think they're having a little bit of that struggle of, knowing what's real and what's not real, because kids in fifth grade are not always nice.
No.
They're just not. Middle school kids are not always nice. So you have to develop that thick skin. And I think that you guys have to decide what you're willing to love about yourself and be proud of, because you should be. That's why being a girl is so important, because we have to support each other and you have to support your peers. We went to Camp Campbellgard last week, and I was so proud of Lily. There were 3 schools at the same camp that we went. We went for 3 days. And one of the kids from another school made a comment about one of our students. And Lily, bless her heart, turned to this kid who was older than her sitting across and was like, "Are you talking about my friend?" And I think that that's what we have to do for girls. We have to be willing to stand up for each other and be proud of each other, because that's what this is about.
Yeah. You were saying, Saisha, that you had clothes that don't fit the way that you want to fit, and that it makes you feel bad.
I think you have to be willing to understand that you are growing as a person. In fifth grade, you are not done growing in height, weight, all those things. So those things are all very natural. I think that you have to be willing to be conscious of the food choices that you're making and the choices that you make as far as moving your body. And if you take all of those things into account, you don't have to worry so much just about the shirt not fitting, because there's going to be other fantastic shirts and other fantastic shorts as you grow up. I don't wear the same clothes from year to year, and sometimes it's not even because I grow. I just change my mind about something. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to be willing to let yourself grow, literally and more spiritually.
I'm going to ask you, Saisha, what does the word or the term beauty mean to you?
I think beauty comes from within, because some girls are really pretty on the outside, but on the inside they can be really rude. I think beauty is not the way you look, it's the way that you act around other people. Because some people think that you can be really nice if you're pretty, but sometimes you can't.
Yeah. So what do you think, Lily? What is your definition of beauty?
I would say something to make me sound different, but beauty, I think, like, the more way you look, because, like, when you're out in the world and you want to have a family, you have to have some guy that's actually going to love you. For, like, some guys only like girls because of the way they look. And so...
Yeah, but you don't want a guy that's like that, do you?
No, I just want some guy.
No, that's not a good guy. You don't want to be with somebody that wants to be with you just because of your looks. Like Saisha was saying, beauty is coming from the inside. You want somebody that loves all of you. Somebody who thinks that you're funny and that you're smart and they like being around you, even on bad days where you get sick and you throw up and you're wearing shirts with barbecue stains on them and your hair is a huge mess because you haven't taken a shower in 3 days, but he still loves you anyway. You know what I mean? Like he sees that that's the kind of beautiful you want somebody to see in you. And if somebody is only seeing what you look like on the outside and that's the only reason they like you, you shouldn't like that person because that kind of shows who they are on the inside. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Yeah. Is it hard to believe though? Is it one of those things where you can have somebody can say that but you don't believe it?
Yeah, because you just hear so many people saying mean things about you for so long, and to the point where it just gets in your head and you just start believing it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't believe it. Do you think that you're beautiful? No? Well, I think you're beautiful. Do you believe me? No? Yeah, geez.
I think you're beautiful, too. How many times have I told you today that I thought you just looked absolutely amazing?
That was because I was trying to look nice.
Lily?
No. It's
Lily?
about the whole package.
You are pretty, even though you're kind of weird sometimes.
That's a great compliment.
Yes. Being weird sometimes is good.
Hey.
Yes, you are. You're sweet and kind.
Very nice.
So, I mean, I'll ask you the same question, Saisha. You don't get off the hook on this one. Do you think that you're beautiful?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
When I got my Easter dress, people were saying that I was super pretty. I didn't have like any jewelry, makeup, nothing on. It was just me. And my hair wasn't really done that nice. It was just like flipped over. So, and my dad's friend, she said that I look gorgeous. And I'm like, I was like, no one's ever called me that but my dad. And I was like super awkward that day because everyone was like, ooh, she's super pretty in that beautiful dress. And it just made me feel super awkward because no one's ever called me beautiful but my dad.
Yeah. Did you believe him?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I looked in the mirror and I looked pretty, but
So what makes you not believe people? Like why do you think that they would lie to you about that or not be honest?
because sometimes when my sisters say that I look pretty, I don't believe them because sisters, you can't trust them because they always hurt you sometimes.
Well, and sometimes we feel like family they're going to protect our feelings. So they're going to tell us what we want to hear. So sometimes I think we discount just like we do our husbands when they say we look good and we're like, "Oh yeah, whatever."
Yeah, cuz you feel like they're obligated to tell you.
Yes, they have to tell you that. They can't be like, "Don't put those pants on."
So who would you believe that if they did tell you that you're beautiful, that you would be like, oh my God, really? And you would fully believe it. Is there anybody for either of you? Is there any, or would you just never believe that about yourself?
Only my dad. Only my dad. My dad.
What do you think, Lily?
I don't know.
You don't know? You have a hard
Most of the
time?
time, I don't really believe anybody.
Do you think that you'll ever be okay with like loving yourself? Do you think that that's something that you would be able to work on, or is that something that you want to work on?
I have no idea because I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I wish I did.
So you guys have both talked about, not even talking about how we see ourselves, but like health things, like you brought up diabetes and stuff like that. So you guys want to just get healthy outside of like, let's take out body image and the way that we look of just being healthy. So what are your feelings towards that? Is there anything that you want to work on just health?
Does anxiety count as health?
Yeah, and that's mental health.
I would like to help with my anxiety because I have a lot of anxiety. Well, sometimes, and it goes crazy a lot.
Do you have anybody that you talk to about that?
I've only talked to my mom a couple times. There's only times when I can actually talk to her,
So do you feel like if you were talking to somebody about it, it would make you feel better?
Well, it depends on the person I was talking to. Like, I don't talk to my friends a lot about, like, anxiety and how I'm feeling and stuff. Like, sure, I'll tell them sometimes, but most of the time I'll just talk to someone I'm close to, like my mom.
With all of this stuff, is this something that you guys wish that you could talk about more? Or is it,
Kind of, because I know that there's lots of other kids that have, like, self-loving issues, too.
Yeah.
So, like, so they can hear this and know that other people
Other
have the
peop-
same issues.
Yeah. Do you feel like most people in your class are kind of dealing with the same thing, that just nobody talks about it?
Probably some kids. Maybe the kids
I
that
know
aren't
people.
athletic. I don't know.
So, Lily, you brought up like your sister saying that she's fat when you think that she's not. Like, how does that make you feel when like other people call them, like no matter what size they are, when people call themselves fat?
Frustrated because I'm very overprotective about my friends and my family and my siblings sometimes.
So, what about when people say that about themselves? Like when somebody says, "Oh, I'm so fat."
I kind of like go over that and I'm like, no.
Don't say that. Well, so you don't like when somebody says that about themselves and you think that's wrong. So why do you think it's okay to say that to yourself?
Because it's myself.
Yeah, but you're important. Don't you think you're
I
important?
really care about myself.
You should be you should be your number one cheerleader.
Yeah.
I am actually a cheerleader. In the winter, I'm actually a cheerleader.
You would never go up to somebody else and say that, right? You would never go up to somebody and be like, "You're so fat." That's mean, right? That's really mean. But you would never say anything like that to anybody, though.
No.
So then you have to ask yourself, why do you say it to yourself? I mean, you don't want to. Why is it okay to treat other people that way, but it's not okay to treat yourself that way? You're being your own bully, don't you think?
I just don't really care about myself.
But why do you think you don't care about yourself?
I just don't like myself that much.
There's got to be something you like about yourself. Tell me about the things that you do like about yourself. There's nothing you like about yourself? Don't, come on.
Not really.
Nothing about your personality.
What about your art skills?
Oh, yeah, she's
not
so
that
good at drawing. Lily, you are so good at drawing. Like, when I'm at home, I always draw, like, stick people and be like, yeah, I drew the best thing ever. But then my parents are like, what is that? I'm like, what do you have to say that about my drawing? You can see perfectly clear that it's a person. And they're like, I thought that was a hat. I'm like, really?
Well, Saisha, you and Lily are friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are best friends. So Lily is having a hard time finding things that she likes about herself. So what do you like about Lily? What are your favorite things about her?
She's very fun. Don't you dare say no, Lily.
No.
I can see it on your face, and you say it again, I will slap you. Watch what you say.
So aggressive.
I know,
What
right?
you say and see what happens.
She's nice, and we just like play all the time, and we have fun.
Well, Saisha, do you think that you're beautiful? Well, you said sometimes. So what do you like about yourself?
I like my hair because in the sunlight it's actually maroon, and it's really pretty. And I really like my birthmark because it's special to me, and it's kind of different than other people because sometimes they don't have birthmarks, and I think it's a special thing about me.
So after hearing her talk about the things that she likes about herself, you still haven't thought of anything that you like about yourself?
No.
No? There's nothing?
Nothing.
No? Can I tell you what I like about you? I've only known you for like an hour.
Well, we met each other in, like, was it February?
Yeah.
When I came to class.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to like hang out like we are now.
We just, like, talked.
Yeah, I think that you have a cool sense of style. I think that you seem like you're very fun. It seems like you'd be really funny and have fun to hang out with. Like, just from what I could tell, it just looks like it seems like you're a very unique person, like in a very cool way. Like, it seems like you would be a cool girl to hang out with. Lily, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? You can be honest.
A ball.
A ball?
A ball.
You think that you look like a ball?
And a weird shaped face with weird teeth.
You don't have a weird shaped face and you don't have weird teeth.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Like, one time this girl tapped me in 2nd grade, and I turned around. She's like, you look like a vampire. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, but you don't need to listen to her opinion, right? You don't know this girl.
You can't let people tell you what you think you can be.
Yeah.
And then, this is an app that a lot of kids use. You probably might know it, TikTok. I had that, and I used to have an old account. And since I have, something wrong with my eyes because I have trouble focusing, one eye will, kind of doze off.
Mm-hmm.
And so in one of the TikToks, just to make sure everybody knows, I told them that, I had, something wrong with my eyes, and for them not to comment down below saying, oh, what's wrong with your eyes? And I ended up deleting that account, so yeah.
So do you guys are you guys on Facebook and Snapchat and all that stuff?
I don't even have a phone.
Snapchat. I don't have a phone, but I use my tablet.
I don't have any electronics at my house.
That's good. I like it.
I only have
good?
TV. That's it.
Do you think that would be harder for you guys
PlayStation.
if you were on social media?
Yes, I think it would be harder for me because if I took pictures and people would be like, that girl is really fat and ugly, be like, this is why I don't want a phone. I don't want a phone, actually.
I think social media is good because you get to meet more people. Even though you can't meet them in real life, you still get to know them because some people have online friends that they trust a lot. It's crazy.
So you'd like that better because you feel like they would get to know you first.
Yeah, not saying that I want to go on Tinder, but I don't. But it's kind of like Tinder because
Mercy.
I don't know. I just didn't know what. So you get to know each other before you go off and meet.
Not on Tinder, you don't.
So you kind of get to know each other. You get to talk.
I don't think we should be worried about Tinder right now.
I know, but I'm just trying to use the thing, because you get to talk to each other, and then when you guys first meet, you guys kind of don't know what you're gonna look like. So
no, on the internet, you definitely know. On Tinder, all it is pictures.
I know. I think.
Are you talking about boys specifically?
No.
Okay.
I'm just trying to use something as
an example.
Gotcha.
The reason I think online friends is bad is because I think the only reason they want to be your friend is because what you look like on the game. Maybe they think you are really cool, like you're a teenager and you're really good at gaming. But then when they really meet you in real life, their happiness is like, are you kidding me? This is not what I pictured. I thought she was going to be super cool and awesome and
interesting.
Yeah. So, same question for you, Sonny. Get to ask you, what do you see when you look in the mirror?
I see a pear.
A pear. So you see, what'd you say? A circle. You saw
a ball.
I was
a
gonna
ball.
say an orange.
An orange, and you're a pear.
I see a pear because out here it's tiny, but when you go down, it's big, and it's just like a pear.
Why do you think that you look so big?
My stomach is really big, and I don't like it. I don't like that about me.
But compared to what? What makes you think that because I don't think you have a big belly. What makes you think you have a big belly?
My weight and all the clothes. I'm an adult size, which is really, really sad for a 10-year-old person. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It makes me have lots of self-doubt, and it makes me feel like I can never overcome it. Never be skinny that I want to be.
But do you feel like if you're skinny, you think that it would make you happy?
It would make me feel happy. But at school, I also gain a lot of weight because I overeat, and I just don't like it. And it makes me sad, and I need to stop it, and I just need to protect myself and make sure that nothing bad happens to me.
Do you think that being skinny, though, you're saying that why does skinny make you happy?
Because I get all my clothes back that I didn't have before. I get to be possibly more stronger because I want to be more flexible, so I can learn how to do a backflip.
Yeah.
And I want to be skinny because I don't want people telling me that I look terrible, that I'm fat. I want to be the skinny person that I was a few years ago. I was really skinny when I was 3 to 5, and then when I got to school, I kept overeating, and it was just making me bigger and bigger and bigger, and I want it to stop. I need to catch myself because I'm scared, And I don't want anything bad to happen to me earlier in the future because when lots of people have died from what they did when they were little, and it scares me a lot.
Have you talked to anybody about that?
I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my dad about it.
So you talk about overeating a lot. Do you feel like whenever you're sad that you want to eat, do you feel like eat whenever you're emotional?
I eat a lot at lunch, and I eat a lot during movies. Like when we were at a Reds game last year, and my mom packed us these snack bags and had so much food in it, and I eat all the food in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I
same.
eat really fast, and I just want to stop doing this to myself because it scares me a lot.
Why do you think that you do that?
I don't know.
No? How do you think that you'll fix it since you don't like it?
Catch myself before I do that. Be like, I need to stop. And then just push it away or just give it to someone else if they want
Do you
it.
think you just make healthier choices?
Yep.
Like more fruits and veggies sorts of things?
I usually eat sugary stuff. Whenever I have a big bag of candy, I eat it up in 2 minutes. And my mom's like, really? Really? You need to slow down. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just so good. And then my dad says, you need to eat more slowly and enjoy it more. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to do that next time, but I never do it because I always forget.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. When food tastes really good like that, I mean, I'm the same way. But I'm an emotional eater. If I have a really bad day and I just want to eat a lot.
If I have a really bad day, I just take it out on everybody. I'm like, leave me alone.
See, I'll do that, and then I'll eat a whole cake.
Yeah. Eat a whole cake. Whenever we go to buffets, I eat 3 plates, and I need more food. But then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Done.
So do you think in the future you want that to change then?
I want to be more skinnier and start helping myself to better things, better choices.
But do you think it's better to not think of it as being skinnier, but being healthier? Do you
being
think that,
healthier and being skinnier is my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, my goal.
What about you, Lily?
What?
What do you feel like your challenges are?
My anxiety, me being alone all the time, and I feel like I have anger issues, but I don't think so.
Maybe just being more positive.
And me liking myself more.
Yeah. Have you ever, you guys might think this is stupid, but I don't think it's stupid. And this is something that I've started doing, is doing a gratitude journal. So just every morning, and don't roll your eyes at me.
I'm not rolling my eyes.
No, I'm not. I know you're not. I'm just saying in general that every morning I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. Even if it's something stupid, I'm grateful for my dog. I really love my dog Beasley. So just to start off the day of I'm really grateful that, the weekend is close, that I got something cool going on this weekend. I'm really grateful for my dog, and I'm really grateful that I got to get a good night's sleep last night. Just little things, and just kind of make those a things of just being thankful for the things that I have, even if they're dumb, because they're not dumb to me. And I think that's kind of helpful to just be a little bit more positive, especially on days, because I'm really mean to myself too, where I look in the mirror and some days I'm like, you're so gross. And those are some mean things that I say to myself. And then I have to stop myself and be like, no, but there's so many cool things that you do. You're doing a lot of really good things, and you're beautiful in a lot of other ways. Can't be mean to yourself like that. You can't see an orange or a pear every day. You know what I mean? And when you do, because I'm not saying that won't go away, you have to be like, okay, well, maybe I think that my belly looks gross today, but my hair looks good. My hair looks awesome today.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really good. And so then it's okay, well, I'm going to think about my hair today. I'm not going to think about the things that I don't like. I think that, Tracy, you can speak to this too, being an adult and going on a weight loss journey, that having those negative thoughts
Absolutely.
never go away.
It's a daily struggle.
Yeah, it's how you talk to yourself. It's
It is.
trying to change how you talk to yourself. I mean, you see these girls in your classroom full of girls every day. I mean, would you think that they're struggling with this many issues that we're kind of talking about right now?
I think that a lot of girls have self-doubt and aren't sure about how fantastic they are, whether it be their looks or their attitude or what they bring to the table. I think it's today's world is very different than the world we grew up in. They see a lot of things on social media and things that are pushed that, you know, to be skinny or to look a certain way. So I think that they have a struggle that we did not have.
Yeah.
For sure.
And do you guys feel that? Is a lot of the pressure coming from like things that you see like on TV and online? And no? It's mostly just from people. Where do you feel it from?
It's not really from people because I haven't really been told that I am big. It's just that I can imagine just when I get like all scared, I will like only reason why I hide in my shell is because when I'm like nervous to talk or be loud, I will like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You're fine.
It's like I think people are thinking bad things around me, like talk behind my back and like just say things that I just don't want to hear. And so it kind of like adds on the way I feel about myself because I tell myself these things and I get nervous about them.
Yeah, I think that we all do that. And this is something that helps me. And I know that you guys probably haven't read her book. She has a Netflix special. Her name's Brene Brown. And this helps me. And I watched her Netflix special that just came out. And she talks about things like that. It's when you think of it as a story that you tell yourself. You're telling yourself a story that other people are thinking these mean things about you. They could be thinking about something totally different. They could be thinking about what they're eating for dinner that day. But in your mind, you're telling yourself a story that's not true of they must think I'm so stupid or they think I'm so ugly or all of these things. And that's not, you don't know what they're thinking. It's just a story that you're telling in your own head. So I think for me, it's helpful to kind of stop myself when I think those things of like, oh, they must think I'm so dumb. Or for me, I feel like, I have this weight loss and health and fitness podcast. And I talk about this every day. And I'm worried that people will meet me like, oh, she's not as skinny as I thought she would be. She's too fat to do something like this. Nobody has ever said that to me. That is a story I tell myself in my own head that I worry that people think about me when I meet them. And so I have to tell myself that's not true. That's a lie. That's a fake story. So don't choose to believe it because it does nothing but make me feel bad. And I don't want to feel bad, right? You guys don't want to feel bad. So it's helpful for me when you find yourself spinning in those stories. If you think other people think that way about you, you don't really know. It's just kind of making that up. And that's, that you should change it and just not worry about it or catch yourself when that happens. Do you think that's helpful at all? Yeah, maybe no. Kind of. Yeah. So you guys know that other people are going to be listening to this podcast. If there's anybody else that's your age listening to this podcast, what would your advice to them be?
In one sentence.
Yeah.
My advice would be to love yourself the way you are. Don't let anybody tell you what you look like. Just ignore them and say, you can't tell me what to do. I'm the person that I want to be.
I like it, Saisha. What about you, Lily?
I have no idea. That's my sentence.
Do you have anything that you want to say to any adults listening to this?
Don't be mean. Don't judge people by the way they look.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of just like, oh my gosh, he's so weird.
That's good advice. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in and talking to me about such a tough topic. It was really super brave. And I think that you guys are awesome. And I think that you're beautiful. I totally do. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.